Hello and welcome back to What It Feels Like. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after Mylo spent some time thinking about the past in relation to Jacob specifically, in relation to how they first met and how they used to hang out, and then eventually when Mylo thought that he had fallen for Jacob and Jacob, in turn had fallen for him. Unfortunately, as Mylo said, he was misinterpreting the signs and thinking like, oh yeah, like this is the moment that I know that I am in love, this is the moment that I know that this is the guy. But in reality, it was never that moment. It was a moment of weakness and a moment of opportunity. And yeah. Anywho, so perhaps we might start to see a Mylo that has changed. So, here's hoping. I also believe, though, that we're about to see them go to Chicago. Was it Chicago? Where they're going to record the album, or at least try to record an album. So, yeah. Anywho, so without further ado, let us continue What It Feels Like. And I believe that this should be Chapter 6. The week that follows is hectic. Phone calls to the recording studio, mock-ups for the album cover, track list, begging my parents to let me stay in Chicago overnight. It all overwhelms me, to the point of ignoring a lot of previous problems plaguing my mind, namely Jacob and Baxter. Sort of like Katniss Everdeen, too busy with the rebellion to choose either Gale or Peeta, except it's a record deal instead of a war, and we're all guys. In any case, both of them take a backseat in priorities of my attention, and although this doesn't affect my relationship with Jacob in any way, considering we're not even speaking to each other anyways, it does put a dark cloud over Baxter and me. The awkwardness of leaving each other in such weird terms that Monday night persists throughout the entire week, and although nothing in our routine really changes, it does seem like I'm seeing him less and less. It does make me a little sad that we're drifting apart like this, but it was bound to happen eventually. Besides, I have bigger fish to fry. The long-awaited Saturday morning finally arrives, and I'm up bright and early, packed up and ready to go as I walk down the stairs with my travel bag in hand. Mom, as always, is already awake and waiting for me in the kitchen. Figures that you wake up early today. Sure, when you've got school, you hit the snooze button a million times. But for this, you're up at the ass crack of dawn. Come on, Mom. Don't dampen the mood. I just wish that you were this excited about going to classes, too. I'll, try? She just sighs. Are you going to have breakfast here? Nah, we'll probably pick something up on our way over there. Lizzie and Wyatt should be here any second. And Baxter? Yeah, him too. Is everything really okay between the two of you? Our talk on Monday still makes me wonder. We're fine, Mom, really. Well, okay, if you're sure. Before you go, your father wanted you to have this. She grabs a small wad of cash with a sticky note on it and hands it over to me. Well, maybe not small. There's gotta be at least $300 in here. Mom, this is too much. You should tell that to him, not to me. I told him that you wouldn't want to accept it. But you know him. I do know him. Any issue or problem he has, he just throws money at it. Made Mom angry? Take her out to dinner. Miss my elementary school graduation? Buy me a huge toy set. Sad that Emma's leaving for college. Send her away with a bunch of cash. Maybe it's just the way that he expresses his emotions, with gifts. The sticky note almost confirms this, with good luck written in blocky letters. Even though he barely acknowledges my aspirations to be a singer, he does support me in these small ways sometimes. I sigh, and giving the money a small squeeze, I pocket it along with a note. I'll call him later to thank him. Sure, though he might just pretend that he doesn't know what you're talking about. Anyways, this is from me. She gets a brown paper bag from the kitchen counter and hands it to me, and I'm excited for the possibility of some kind of little kid snacks being inside, like fruit gummies. But inside it reveals the exact opposite. Of varying sizes and colors and packets of of every flavor and variation in existence are the contents inside this innocent lunch bag. I close it, staring at her shocked and dumbfounded. Mom, what the hell? I was doing some research on how you and Baxter might, well, you know, and I just wanted to make sure that you're as safe as possible. You're an adult, and I can't stop you from having, but I at least want you to make sure that you're using protection when you. We're not going to have. Well, it's not something you plan, sometimes. A beep outside makes me jump, but also washes me with relief, and escape from the god-awful conversation. It's not happening, Mom. Jeez. I grab my stuff and start walking towards the door when she stops me, apologetically smiling. Okay, I'm sorry. At least say goodbye. I turn around and give her a hug, squeezing her tightly. Goodbye, Mom. Good luck, sweetie. Text us when you get there so that we know that you're safe. I will. Heading outside, Lizzie waves at my mom from the passenger window excitedly as I walk up to the car. Bye, Miss Russo! Kiss ass. Kiss mine. I take my seat in the back and, with a final wave at my mom, Wyatt pulls out and drives into the street, heading for outside of town. Baxter smiles at me from the other end of the back seat, wearing a dark gray jacket and red shirt, a stark contrast to his usual warm-colored attires. He opens his mouth to talk to me, but before he can, Lizzie turns around excitedly. Did she pack you string cheese? I've been dying for one of those. Peanut butter crackers for me. Wyatt sticks his hand in the back. In the usual driver wants the chips that people in the back are eating fashion. I open the bag and sneakily slide it in his hand. There you go, buddy. He looks at it, holding it up for everyone to see, and Lizzie bursts out laughing. That I won't be using. Do you want them? Sure, give it. I hand her the baggie and she pulls out another one. Ooh, look, Wyatt. Extra small. Finally, for you. Yeah, right. Just don't be upset when it breaks. Everyone in the car blushes, apparently, given the silence. Baxter breaks the tension by coughing awkwardly and addressing me alone. So, Russo, got everything we need? Yeah. The CD, the pictures, a pen to sign the record deal. I'm sure they'll have a pen. Aw, I can't wait. Chicago, Chicago, the city of dreams. No one calls it that. I want to go see the Bean. We can sightsee after we're auditioned. Well, depending on how the mood is. Nah, it's a surefire deal. Russo's got this in the bag. I smile at him, even though we may not be as close lately. Having his support always makes me feel all warm inside. I'll do my best, that's for sure. We'll do fine. Alright then, I believe in you, Russo. Hey, Russo's my thing. So he's an object now? You know that's not what I meant by that. The ride eventually gets quiet. It's a 7-hour drive after all, and Lizzie falls asleep pretty quickly, with Wyatt focused on the road and not being one for conversation to begin with. It leaves a lot of time for Baxter and me to talk. If we wanted to. But despite our initial banter, it's hard for me to talk to him right now. Things were easier when we were pretending to be boyfriends all the time. With that layer of deception peeled off our lenses, we're just two guys with a deal. And if I think about it like that, it makes me feel icky. Hey, Russo. Hmm? Baxter ceremoniously takes out a handheld game console, holding it towards me with a smug grin and a sing-songy voice. I got games. On a DS? Are we gonna play Cooking Mama? Don't diss the DS or the mother that cooks, Russo. She's the icon of our generation. But I've got loads of other games if you want to try it. I'm good. Playing games makes me carsick. Thanks though. Oh, yeah, I get that. Just let me know if you want to turn. Yeah, sure. I look out the window, turning my body away from him. The view of my hometown passing through in a blurry, quick daze might just distract me from the guilty feeling of completely ignoring his advances. But I can't focus on him right now. Thinking about Baxter too long makes me queasy, and thinking about Jacob for a second makes me nauseous. Instead, I just set my sights on the road ahead, and the new beginning that's waiting for me at our final stop. I'm not exactly a stranger to road trips. The long drives to different cities my family used to take when we were all together were always a little treacherous. Being in a small space with Emma makes us both go a little insane. But those were nothing compared to the length of this one. A 7-hour long drive would make anyone feel claustrophobic, and despite our many attempts to keep our spirits high throughout that time, we always ended up deflating quickly after. The only thing that finally gets us all excited at once is the Welcome to Chicago sign on the freeway, and we all sit up to look outside our windows. Holy shit! Finally! Are we actually there already? A few more minutes till we get to the studio. We'll get there an hour early, but that's better than late. It's definitely a good look for us. I'm gonna take pictures. I take out my Polaroid camera that I packed in my bag, and Baxter glances at me with an awkward smile. Gonna write a song about how great Chicago is? I think something like that already exists. It's a city just for me. I've snapped a few pictures by the time that we are already in the city, but I quickly realize that Polaroids aren't made for moving cars. When we get there then. For now, I just roll the window down, staring in awe at how different this place is from Ashland. Maybe it's me, but if this had been my hometown, I think that I would have been famous already. I suddenly feel Baxter push himself against my back, peering over my shoulder to look outside the window. His cologne smells nice. See the bean anywhere, Russo? I don't think that it's in our path right now. Damn. He lingers there for another beat, and I feel his breathing hit the back of my head periodically. Despite my earlier apprehension, I don't pull away this time. Baxter's touch, as awkward as it is this time around, always finds a way to soothe me. And I could use a bit of soothing right now. My nerves are in full swing, and I'm more than just a little carsick. Anticipation and anxiousness all bundle up in one chaotic little package once Wyatt rolls the car into a parking lot right by the recording studio. The engine sputters to a stop and silence fills the car as we all feel the nervousness emanate from each other. Well, let's do this then. How are we feeling? Ready for it? I think I need a Monster and a cig before we play. Normally I'd be against a cigarette, but I'll let it slide this time. I want a chocolate bar too. There's a convenience store just around the corner. We'll be back in 10 minutes tops. You guys want anything? I'm good. Yeah, me too. Maybe just water. Got it. Don't go anywhere. And if someone offers you candy, what do you say? Stranger danger. Good boy. Baxter and I glance at each other, alone now, and he awkwardly steps back and takes his phone out, pointing it at me. Picture time, Russo. This is definitely a milestone achievement. You gotta show me this collection that you're making one day. All in due time. Now strike a pose. I give him the standard double peace signs, and he snaps a couple of pictures before smiling at me with an approving nod. Thanks. Sure. Nervous? Yeah. You? A little. He lets out a long, exasperated sigh, turning to face me with a serious expression on his face. Mylo, things are weird between us, aren't they? And they have been for a while now. No. Things aren't weird. Don't do that. Pretend like nothing's wrong. Things aren't fine, Russo. Let's not play that game, yeah? Okay, yeah, maybe they aren't. This whole awkwardness or whatever started on Monday, and We both know why. Mylo, I'm sorry. I know we're not really dating. I know that you have someone else that you'd rather be with, and I do too, I guess. My point is, I get it, that we shouldn't get in each other's way, but you're still my friend. And maybe it's just me, but I consider you to be my best friend. Boyfriend or not, it was shitty to leave you for Dahlia that day, and I regret it. I'm sorry. But I miss you. I don't want us to be this distant with each other, especially not today. So if there's any way that I could make it up to you, oof. He doesn't get a chance to finish. I crash into his body and grip him in a tight, rib-breaking hug, and he only hesitates for a second before reciprocating it with an almost equal intensity. No, it's okay. I'm sorry too. I let it get to me too much, and it's not your fault. I think I would have been pissed too. You should have said something, Russo. Curse me out and send me to hell. I don't know. Then I would have apologized way sooner. I know. I'm just used to sucking it up when something's bothering me. Because of Jacob? Yeah. But I'm not Jacob. I know. Trust me, I do. I missed you too. Does that mean that I'm your best friend too? Well, Lizzie might have that spot. As long as I'm on the list, that's good enough for me. Then you're definitely up there. Good. He holds me in his arms like this, smiling at me, our faces inches apart from each other. Although I hadn't really thought about it before, he definitely is my best friend. Apart from Lizzie, I can't trust anyone the way that I trust him. My secrets, my worst parts of me. It's like I can tell him anything. He's right. He isn't Jacob, not by a long shot. I missed him, being right next to me, more than I missed Jacob this entire week. I'd realized then that it's on the tip of my tongue. The only words that I can't say to him. I think that they may have been wanting to come out for a while now. Butterflies invade my stomach, and I shyly avert my gaze from his, self-consciousness suddenly taking over me. Aw, feeling shy. Don't back away now. He buries his face against my neck, making obnoxiously loud kissing sounds, and I squeal in embarrassment, laughing from the ticklish sensation. He really doesn't have any sense of public decency, does he? Just stop it. Come on, let me smell you a bit more. Creep, don't smell me. We leave for 1 second and you guys are making out in the middle of the sidewalk. Honestly, Bax, control yourself. Wait till we get to the motel. Sorry. Well, at least you guys seem to be in good spirits. I know I am. I just ate 2 Snickers and a Monster, and I feel like I could kill God. Wyatt, did you give her in the bathroom again? Do you really think that she needs to act like this? Fair point. Alright, let's do this. With a determined nod, I turn and lead us inside the building, my heart racing 1,000,000 miles a minute. The wait is agony, my nerves are shot through the roof, and sitting in the small room until the producer is ready to listen to us play is making me an anxious mess. I take advantage of the downtime to head into the bathroom, splashing water on my face and looking at myself in the mirror. If there was ever a time to bring out that alter ego of mine, it'd be now, wouldn't it? That confidence that I could only dream of having all the time would surely impress the producers. What's better than someone who knows what they want and isn't afraid to reach out and grab it? The person on the other side of the mirror is shaken up. His eyes aren't the same electric blue that I'm used to seeing, instead being doled out to a depressing gray. I stand up straighter. Now's your moment, Russo. Let's show him that we're a star, okay? Let's show him who's number 1. My phone's vibrating takes me out of my trance, and I shake my head, returning my focus to the real world. I fish it out of my pocket expecting to see my mom or Stella, wishing me good luck. I could use a little "you got this" from a girl right now. I always believe it more, somehow. But staring at the phone number on my screen doesn't ease me in the slightest. I let it ring a few times. I stand and stare at the number that, through time, became a name that tugs at my heartstrings every time that I hear it. And I answer it. Hello? Mylo. Hey. Hi. You doing okay? I know it's been a while. I'm sorry about that. I swallow hard. God, why now? I'm fine. I'm sorry you caught me at a really bad time. Hey, listen. I know, okay? I know you're pissed. I want to apologize, talk this out in person. I've had time to think and I'm ready for us to have that conversation. What do you say? Can you come over tonight? Jacob, I can't. Mylo, come on. You can't avoid me forever. You still have my spare key. Please, let's just see each other. I'm in Chicago. What? Chicago? What are you doing there? I'm with the band. We're looking to sign a record deal. Oh. That's really great, Mylo. I'm proud of you. I know I shouldn't care. I've made up my mind that he's no good for me. And yet, hearing him now, why does it feel like everything that I was moving on from is coming right back to me? Why can't I just let him go? Thanks. Hey, listen. I have to go. I'll give you back your key when I get back, if you want. Yeah. Okay, sure. I wish I could have seen you today. I'm hanging up now. Goodbye, Jacob. Mylo. I press the hang up button about 10 times, well after the little red circle disappears from the screen, and I suck in a shaky, shallow breath, letting it out in a quick, sporadic spurts. Does he have any fucking idea what it feels like to hear that from him right now? To know that a part of him wants me there by his side, in his arms tonight? I could try and convince myself it's over, that my heart isn't set on him and my future plans have him crossed out in a big red X. But how do I forget this? How do I move on from the only form of love that I've ever known? I aggressively rub my eyes with more water, shaking my head and looking back in the mirror. His eyes are still gray. The star of the show is nowhere to be found in my reflection. It's still me. And that terrifies me. Not too soon after, someone steps out and tells us a producer is ready to hear us. We all excitedly group up, heading towards the door together. Lizzie grabs a hold of my hand and gives it a soft squeeze, looking up at me. Hey, you okay? I'm fine. I offer her my best smile. The look she gives me tells me that she knows it's fake. But she just rubs my arm soothingly, nodding in assurance. Good. Give him hell, Russo. Baxter squeezes my shoulder in that reassuring way he does, giving me a smile, a real one. Head in the game, Russo. Let's do this. I look back at Wyatt, and he just gives me a look, a stare, really. If only I could actually stare back into his eyes. We nod at each other, and with the push of the door, we head inside. It's exactly what I've dreamed of, a large room full of recording equipment that I couldn't even begin to understand how to use. Sliders, buttons, keyboards, dials galore. It's all very overwhelming, but oh so exciting. A small room with glass windows separates the area in half. One room for recording, the other room for adjustments to that recording. I've seen how it works on documentaries, sure, but the idea of actually getting to be on that side of the room makes me giddy. Sitting on a sofa is a middle-aged badger, a bored look on his face as he stares down at his phone, not even bothering to look up at us as we enter the room. We just sort of stand there for a few moments, looking around and gawking like idiots until he smacks his thighs and stands up with an exasperated sigh. So, you guys are the band Marlon sent, right? Marlon, Stella's uncle, aka the sweetest man that you've ever met. He talked us through the entire procedure with so much detail and claimed over and over how great this producer guy was. Yeah, that's us. Hi, I'm Mylo Russo. This is my band. Lizzie. Yeah, I know your names. Wisconsin, right? Small town, alternative style, mixed gender, the standard stuff. Any of you guys a minority? I'm gay? And why it's African American? Not that that really matters. In this industry, every single aspect of yourselves matters. Marketability is just as important as talent, if not more so. He checks his phone constantly throughout our conversation, as if only half paying attention to us. So, you want to sign a record deal, huh? You know what that entails, I presume? Yes, I've done my research. Every song on the album is written by me. Well, me and Wyatt. Right, songwriting credits. Those are details that we won't really get into right now. I'd like to hear your sound first. He takes a step back and collapses onto the sofa again with a huff, giving us an unamused look that makes me seriously start to question my abilities. He certainly doesn't look pleasant. Set up quickly. We've got instruments there, soundproofing too. I don't want to hear you sing and play. I want to see you perform. Give me something to work with. Impress me. Right. It doesn't take long for us to settle into our instruments. We take our usual spots like we would at the bar, and once we're settled in, Baxter gives me a nod to let me know that he's ready. I look straight ahead, the only thing in my vision being the producer in front of me. This is it then. Don't fuck it up, Russo. Thank you for having us, sir. We're the Dead End Lovers, and we're gonna perform for you now. The usual confidence in my voice when I say that isn't there, and when the producer raises an eyebrow, it just makes me shrink into myself a bit more. I do my best to shake that feeling away, swallowing hard and looking back at Baxter, to signal him to start. He gives me a worried look, but nevertheless counts to 3 under his breath, and starts the song. It's off. Something's off. I'm hitting my notes. The music is on tempo. We sound good, great even. But something is definitely off. Is it my energy? My tone? Is it obvious just how nervous, how anxious I am? How unsure I am? As the song continues, I try and get into the groove, the flow of the music that I'm so accustomed to feeling when I perform. But it's never been like this, in a small claustrophobic room with the stakes so high. And no one's ever looked at me like that before, with such boredom. I can handle disdain, I can handle apprehension or even disgust. But there's truly nothing worse than being boring. 3 minutes feels like an eternity, but the song eventually ends, the echo of the cymbals reverberating in the room as the producer lets out another sigh, giving us a blank stare. Thank you, I say into the mic, hoping it makes him say something in return. Anything at all. Alright, listen guys, you're good. The song is fine. From the sounds of it, you're going for an alternative style, but the outfits on the CD look over the top, like some 2000s punk band. It's fine for the small beach town local gig that you guys were doing. Here though, in the real world, this is nothing. It's basic indie crap that you find on SoundCloud with less than 100 listens. You're stiff, you're anxious. You don't know if you want to do pop or punk or alt or whatever the fuck. It's messy, all over the place, but above all else, it's nothing special. You've got a good voice and decent penmanship, kid. It's just not good enough. All eyes land on me. The producer, Lizzie, Baxter. I can even feel Wyatt's stare bore into the back of my skull from behind me. A painful silence hangs in the air as I give the smallest of nods and whisper a quiet, "Thank you for the opportunity," into the mic. So that's it then. We walk out of the room in more silence. I walk a significant ways ahead, knowing that a touch on the shoulder from any of them would make me burst into tears, and I just can't afford that right now. We head straight for the car, and we all just sit there. It stinks of disappointment and Cheetos. Let's go get something to eat. Right, I'm starving. Same here. You hungry, Mylo? Wyatt starts the engine, and we roll out into the street. By the time that we reach the restaurant, some chain of steaks or something, the pain has morphed into numbness, and any sense of excitement and whimsy from being in Chicago's city of dreams have left my system. Baxter guides me towards the booth, and we all take our seats. He keeps his distance once we're seated, which for once, I appreciate. A peppy waitress comes over and excitedly tells us that there is a 2-for-1 special on drinks, and we should try the blooming onions. And oh, there's 4 of us. There's a special on entrees for 4 people, too. She quickly deflates when she realizes we're in no mood for her energy, though, and she just jots down our orders and leaves. I appreciate this waitress, too. Well, that could have gone better, I won't lie. But I was looking online, and there's a ton of other recording studios here in Chicago. It's already a little late, but I can make a few phone calls, and we can see if anyone's willing to have us for tomorrow. We can go back to the motel, buy some drinks, get some... I'm not going. To the motel? To any other recording studios, Liz. Her ears flatten a bit, and I don't think that I've ever talked to her with such venom in my tone. I'm done. You all heard him. I'm just not good enough. So whatever. We tried. We gave it our best shot, and we failed. I failed. Mylo, that isn't... It's fine. I don't need the pep talk. I'm just done. With music, songwriting, performing. It's a long time coming anyways. Lizzie looks to Baxter, then at Wyatt, who just keeps his gaze on me. Mylo, come on. Is that seriously what you want? To disband the band? She chuckles nervously, knowing how awkward that sounded coming out of her mouth. Why not? What good has it done for us? Look at where we are, in the middle of some foreign city, hundreds of miles away from home, and nothing to freaking show for it? You were already planning on leaving it, and Baxter's not gonna be here for much longer. So yeah, I'm serious. I'm not really going anywhere. He mutters this, not really offering it as much as an argument, but more just to fill in the silence. Fine. I know you're upset right now, so maybe a break would do some good. Let's just enjoy the rest of the trip, okay? Well, fuck that. We all turn to look at him. What? We've got a no. So fucking what? Do you know how many artists got tons of them? Are you seriously going to throw everything away because of one insignificant no? I'm a bit taken aback by his anger. Why, it's always such a rock, a pillar of stone-cold seriousness, that hearing him get heated makes my skin crawl. It's not just this, Wyatt. It's everything. It isn't just some insignificant no. That no means something. It means whatever the frick you want it to mean, Mylo. Haven't we busted our butts off, writing songs, looking for venues, making music, publicity, all that shit. And look where it's gotten us. We haven't played anywhere else but Arnie's for over a year, and the one time that we try and branch out, we get turned down. Face it, Wyatt, the shit isn't going to work out. Maybe it'll work out if you don't quit all of a sudden. This isn't all of a sudden. Wyatt, maybe Mylo's right. We can't exactly keep this up forever. Wyatt stares at Lizzie now. It's impossible to tell just what he's thinking, what he's feeling. Seriously? What? After everything that I've told you, and everything that I've sacrificed to make it here, you're just gonna agree with him and give up too? I would have expected for once that you take my freaking side, Lizzie. For once. But no, it's always gotta be Mylo first, right? How many plans have you cancelled for Mylo's sake? How many times have you blown me off for him? And now, the one thing that you know that I care about the most, and you're still gonna side with him? Wyatt, Forget it. Forget all this. Wyatt turns and gets out of the booth. You win, Mylo. It's over. And he storms out, pushing the glass doors of the restaurant so hard, I'm scared that he might have cracked them. Lizzie looks at me, then the doors, then back at me, then the doors again. Go. But I'll be here. I promise. Okay. As if those words physically unchained her, she gets up and bolts out the door, and I see her catch up to Wyatt, who is just sulking outside. I hear her muffled voice plead something to him, inching her away closer, worry, fear, plastered across her face. I guess she really is scared of losing him, huh? That's my fault again, isn't it? I bury my face in my hands, the tears threatening to come out, but I swallow them down. I feel Baxter tense up next to me, as if unsure whether to console me or not. Hey, it's all right, Russo. He just needs a breather. So do you, I think. We're all cranky and hungry. Hankry. Crungy. I glare at him from between my fingers. Oh, okay. Not funny. Got it. My point is, just give him some room to breathe. You can apologize to him once he's cooled down, okay? I give my eyes a good hard rub, and sitting up straighter, I sigh and cross my arms, feigning a bored look. Whatever. Wyatt knows I'm right. I don't have anything to be sorry for. Now is not the time for petty vulnerability. If Baxter thinks that he's helping, he's sorely mistaken. Eventually, Wyatt and Lizzie join us again in the booth, but both are now silent. The four of us stay that way, the rest of the time that we're there. After a very quiet meal, Wyatt drives us over to our motel. Despite the bad rep that they usually get as far as motels go, this one's pretty nice. It's clean on the outside and there's no one selling on one of the parking spaces. That's way better than most places, at least. Wyatt checks us in, and once he gets the keys to the room, he gives one to Lizzie and heads straight towards his own, not uttering a word to Baxter or me. Lizzie just sighs and hands me the key. Give him a moment, okay? He's just as pissed as you are, you know. None of us knows how he feels better than you do. She gives me a quick hug, then quickly follows the path Wyatt took to their room. I open the door to our own room, and despite my wildest dreams, there's not two beds, at least 5 feet apart from each other, waiting for us inside. I glance over at Baxter, almost positive that he's going to make some stupid joke about us having to share a bed. But he's serious. He just drops his bag on the floor and stretches out with a sigh. He kneels down and starts rummaging through his belongings as I take the left side of the bed, sitting on it and staring at him. I'm gonna head in the shower. Do you need to use the bathroom first? I shake my head no. All right. And without another word, he slips inside, locking the door behind him. I eventually lay down, clothes and all, smelling the foreign sheets as I bury my face into the pillow. He's probably just tired. I know I am. He'll come out of the shower in nothing but his towel. Just like the other day, he'll crack a joke, maybe tease me. We could watch whatever TV show that they have on, no doubt on a channel number unfamiliar to me. And then we'd sleep off this disappointment. Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow starts my new life as a man who once had a dream. The sound of the bathroom door opening makes me prop myself up by my elbows, and I brace myself for a shirtless, flirty Baxter. But it's not that. It's just him. Bathroom's free. All right. He nods and heads over to where his things are on the floor, grabbing his guitar case and flinging it over his shoulder. I'm gonna head out for a bit, get some fresh air. Oh. Okay. I lay back down again, looking up at the ceiling. It's late. Where will he even go? Why wouldn't he take me with them? I grab my phone and stare at it, looking at all the notifications from the lock screen. Missed calls from Mom, missed call from Dad, missed call from Stella even. None from Jacob. I text my mom that I'm at the motel. She asks me how it went. I just say, bad. She sends me an excruciating long paragraph after that, and I don't have the energy to read it right this second. I toss my phone to my nightstand, done with that for tonight. I spend the next 45 minutes or so rotating through activities. I shower, I watch TV, I read the New Testament booklet in the drawer of the nightstand. What would Jesus do? Apologize? Try harder? Die? Seems like he did that last one. Eventually, spending another second inside the motel room makes me feel like I'll explode into pieces right then and there. So, I go out. It's surprisingly warm considering how freezing it would be in Ashland at this time of the night. The streets are busier here than they would ever be back home, and I'm almost embarrassed to be out and about in just my pajamas. But whatever, I'm an American, damn it. I'll go to Walmart in Hello Kitty slippers if need be. No one would bat an eye. I meander to the only other attraction this motel has to offer, other than the rooms. The pool. A crystalline blue shimmers in the water, the ripples on the surface hypnotizing me the more that I stare at it. Sure enough, awkwardly sitting on one of the hard plastic pool chairs, Baxter plays a quiet, somber tune on his guitar. Despite everything, I kind of wish that I had my Polaroid on me. This would make for a hell of a picture. I quietly creep over to him, and even though I'm positive that he can see me through his peripheral vision, he doesn't look up, not even when I'm standing right in front of him. Hey. He stops playing. Hey, Mylo. Maybe I'm overly sensitive, but hearing Mylo instead of Russo somehow stings a little. Are you... Actually, what do I have to say to him? Why did I come out here looking for him in the first place? He finally looks up at me, confused, waiting for me to talk. But I don't. I just stare at him. The pool's jet nozzles make a sound not too different from the cicadas, if not an octave or two lower. The blue of the water reflects onto Baxter's stoic face, and I wish in that moment that I could read his mind. What does he think of me, right here, right now? Does he find me weak? Pathetic? Unlovable? I don't know. I wish that he'd say something. I don't actually want to quit music. Do you, Russo? And just like that, I wish he hadn't said anything at all. Yeah, I do. Nah, you don't. He resumes playing, albeit much quieter now. I wonder how he does that. How do you know? He stops again. Why wouldn't I? I think I've come to know you pretty well these past few weeks. We've been together. And I also know that you saying you want to quit. Well, it's a load of bullshit. I don't know what to tell you, Baxter. It's the truth. He strums 3 strings, one at a time, letting the notes hang in the air. Let me rephrase that then. Maybe you do want to quit, but I don't believe for a second that you actually will. Frustration starts to build up inside me, and I frown at him, crossing my arms. Why? What makes you so sure? He just shrugs. Honestly, it's just a hunch. I slowly fall into the pull chair in front of him, arms still crossed. You don't get it. So explain it to me. I... I'm tired. I'm so tired, Bax. All my life, I've tried to be good enough. I competed with Emma every second of my life, but she was always just better than me. Older, smarter, nicer. So I gave up. I focused on music instead because I thought that I was good at it. It was the one thing that I had that made me better than her in some way. And you don't know how hard I fought for that spot at Arnie's, how hard I fought for Jacob to stay when things got rocky between him and the band. I thought he would stay, if only for me. Tears filled up my eyes, and this time there's no blinking them away. But he didn't. Because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to beat Emma. I wasn't good enough to win Jacob over. I wasn't talented enough to sign a record deal. I'm just not good enough at all. The day that we had our first practice, I asked Why to show me the chords to some of your other songs when I got home. Blinking in confusion, I stare at Baxter, who plays a familiar set of chords in a slow, soft succession. This is Cinema, isn't it? He then switches his fingers to a different position, playing another tune that I recognize. Then this is Happy New Year's. He does this for a few other songs of mine, and I feel my cheeks heat up in embarrassment. I didn't even think Baxter knew the names of my songs, much less the chords and lyrics. I learned a few that night, then a couple more throughout the week. I think that I've got your discography down to a science. What I'm trying to say is, with all this, is that I think that you're really fucking talented, Russo. Your songs? They're vulnerable, emotional, and just like you. Sometimes people will make you feel like you're not enough. I get it. Trust me, I do. But it's up to you to decide that, not anyone else. If you're proud of the songs that you write and the feelings that you put behind them, and if you know that you did your best efforts, then who is anyone to say that you're not enough? Some people will never think that you're enough, Russo. Tough shit. That's just how life is. But for what it's worth, I think you are. And so does Lizzie. So does Wyatt. Lots of people do, so don't push away those people who believe in you. Because at the end of the day, when you don't feel like you're enough, they're the ones who are gonna remind you that you're just full of shit. I completely fail to choke down a sob escaping my throat, and like a child, I break down. I cry, the ugliest, most god-awful sob that I've ever cried, right in front of Baxter. I try my best to conceal my face, but it doesn't work. He's kneeling in front of me now, wiping away my tears, a concerned look etched on his face. I wish that I could tell him. I wish that I could swallow my tears for 1 second, if only to just tell him how much his words meant to me. How no one's ever told me something like that before. How I'm going to remember it for the rest of my life. Baxter realizes that he can't stop my tears, so instead he hugs me. Like this, I can at least put into actions what I couldn't put into words. I squeeze him tight, so tight, as if he would disappear the moment that I stopped applying enough pressure. He doesn't say another word, but then again he doesn't need to. We stay like that for a while. When we separate, I'm the one who pulls away first, drying the rest of my tears with the back of my hand. Baxter even pulls up the hem of his shirt to try and wipe my stuffy running nose for me, but I pull away laughing. No, Jesus, don't get my snot on you. I don't care. I turn away from him and blow it on my own shirt, embarrassed that he's even seeing me in such a state. But he's right. He doesn't seem to mind at all. Thank you. For everything. Of course. Anytime, Russo. I've been a dick to Wyatt, haven't I? Maybe just a little. You should go and apologize. Yeah, I will. I promise. Good then. He stands up and grabs the guitar, and I start to fidget anxiously. You mean now? Well, yeah. I don't want another awkward meal between us. And don't come back till you do. He's joking, of course. I think. Baxter leaves me alone at the pool, but the numbness I had when I first came here is gone. Taking its place now is guilt and shame, burning up my cheeks as I wipe away the crusty feeling off of them. There is no way around it then. Baxter's right. I owe Wyatt an apology. Courage courses through me as I march towards Wyatt and Lizzie's room, weaving through the reception towards the other side of the motel. Room number 7. How ironic. I'm just about to make it there when, after passing through a hallway, something catches the attention of my peripheral vision. A big brown dog staring at a vending machine. My nerves start to buzz inside of me as I walk towards Wyatt, and he reacts in a similar way to Baxter, unflinching despite knowing that I'm there. I'm now standing directly beside him, looking at the vending machine with him. There's nothing good in there. Hey. Hey. Hungry? Kinda. Nothing too appetizing here. Yeah, guess not. Listen, Wyatt, you don't have to quit, you know. I get it. It sucks. But we can power through it. We can go back to Ashland, play in the streets, or at the school. If you're that sick of Arnie's, or just buy a mic for a computer and make our own record. I think Chuck edits videos as a hobby. We could ask him to help us. Just don't throw this away. I'm not quitting, Wyatt. You know I'm not quitting. I'm sorry. I took you for granted. I took all of you for granted. This is your dream as much as it is mine. I guess I forgot how much it meant to you, too. But I had my tantrum. I'm not going anywhere. Wyatt guffaws. A full hearty laugh so loud that I think everyone in this motel could hear it. I almost shush him had he not stopped before I got the chance to. He ends the laugh with a sigh, a big smile plastered all over his face. Of course you're not gonna quit. I feel like such an idiot. You're Mylo frickin' Russo. When have you ever quit anything, even when it's bad for you? Hey, I don't like what you're insinuating. Sorry for saying that shit to Lizzie about you. It wasn't cool of me to do. You're not a bother, Mylo. Nah, I am. I know when I'm a third wheel, that's fine. Between you and me, you can just tell me when you want her to yourself. I'll make up some excuse. It'll be our secret. She doesn't have to know. From blocker to wingman. I still have my moments to shine. Hey, I was serious about making our own music though. What do you think? You offering me a contract, Harris, after everything that I put you through? What can I say? I know talent when I see it. He sticks out his hand for me to shake, grinning at me. Looks like I got that record deal after all. Baxter's sitting on the edge of the bed when I finally make it back to our room, glued to his phone with a look of distress. When I walk in, though, he perks up immediately, the furrow of his brow vanishing as he looks up at me. Hey, how'd it go? We made up. Wyatt's not the one to hold a grudge, thankfully. Awesome. Are you okay? I glance down at his phone, and taking the hint, he chucks it to where his bags are, thankfully landing safely on top of a pile of his clothes. Never better. Now come to bed. Unable to resist, I rush over and tackle him onto the bed, wrapping my arms around his waist as tightly as I can. I feel him chuckle in surprise when I do, his paws reaching up to pet my head. Whoa, are you that sleepy that you're getting all cuddly with me, Russo? I'm wide awake, actually. I hold on to him like that, giddy with relief that somehow everything turned out okay in the end. Isn't it all because of him? Had he not been here, I'd be wallowing in my own self-pity, giving Wyatt the silent treatment all the same. Instead, the future doesn't seem so bleak anymore. I prop myself up to look at him, his face and mine close enough together that I feel it when he chuckles again, letting out air right onto me. We stare at each other for a moment, as if both of us want to say something, or do something more. It's on the tip of my tongue again, those words that I never said to anyone but Jacob for the longest time, words that I didn't think that I could ever say to anyone else. Words that I can't say to Baxter either. Hey. Hey. Thanks for making me go apologize. I feel a million times better now. He smiles and pets the top of my head, looking at me with such softness, I may as well melt into his body right here and now. That was all you, Russo. I guess, but I blush knowing just how corny I'm about to sound. You make me do good things. Being around you, following your advice. I feel like it makes me be a better person. A good person. You're a good person, with or without me, Mylo. I think I'm better when I'm with you, though. He rubs a thumb across my cheek, staring at my face, but not really looking me in the eyes. Yeah, it's kind of funny you say that. I feel the same way with you. You do? Yeah, I'm used to running away from people that I get close to. I'm used to thinking that you gotta leave before you get left, you know? But seeing you try so hard with everything made me realize that I have to put in the effort too. I can't just run when things get bad. I guess we're both learning from each other, huh? Yeah, we are. Hey, listen. When things are over between us, his smile fades. Promise that we'll still be friends? He stares at me, differently this time. Different, but not unfamiliar. It's that same look that he gives me when he's trying to decipher something in the back of his mind, trying to read my thoughts or put his own into order. It's not exactly the first time the mention of our separation has been brought up in conversation, but it feels strange now to bring it up. It's just me and him in this quiet room after all. I don't know how long he does stare at me, but eventually he blinks. Yeah, of course. Phew. That puts me a bit more at ease. Guess I gotta make friends with Dahlia too, if I want that to happen. I rub his chest a little, trying to lighten the mood, but the laugh he gives me is so obviously fake. I kinda wish that I never said anything at all. I don't think that I can be friends with Jacob though. That's okay. You don't have to. How come? I can't exactly tell him. That getting with Jacob isn't in my priorities anymore. That the plan for me is to get him with Dahlia and nothing else. Do you want to sleep now? I am actually kinda tired. Sure. I turn off the lights and join him back in bed, this time under the covers, despite my predicament sharing a bed with someone that, why not admit it, I have crazy tension with. It doesn't feel awkward at all. In fact, when Baxter inches his way closer and wraps his arms around my body, pulling me to his chest, I don't put a lick of resistance. It just feels right somehow. Mylo? His voice comes out as a whisper, right next to my ear, echoing in the dark room. Baxter? He doesn't actually say anything else, not for a while anyways. But I can feel his throat purring, the kind of rumble that tells me that he wants to say something, but it won't come out. Almost as if it's on the tip of his tongue, too. I turn my face towards his, unable to see him very well through the darkness, but enough to know how close he is. He looks at me, and I look back at him. And then he kisses me. It's unlike any other kiss he's given me so far. The usual passion and technique is gone. His kiss is soft, tender, as if afraid that if he puts any more pressure, I'll back away from it. I want to kiss him back, harder, deeper, let him know that it's okay to do that I want it just as bad. But he pulls away before I get the chance. He just smiles at me, brushing the fur on my cheeks, as if there were still tears falling on them. Good night. Good night. He tightens his grip on me, and we return to our original spooning position as he cuddles up against me. It was such a soft kiss, so innocent in nature, so minuscule. And yet, I don't think that I've ever been this turned on in my life. Wow. The bean. It's even bigger than I imagined. My eyes hurt just looking at it. Is it everything that you've ever dreamed of? Yeah. No. Well, at least you can cross that off your bucket list. Wyatt drives us home. Lizzie tells him about all the things that she needs to do once we get back. Baxter's fast asleep, his head on my shoulder, his right hand tightly interwoven with my left. And Chicago disappears behind our rear view mirror. I take out my phone, deciding maybe now would be a good time to read my mom's text. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. Sometimes these things don't turn out the way that you'd like them to. Your father and I had a lot of faith in you, and even though it didn't work out, we're both very proud of you for chasing your dreams. Even these kinds of experiences help you understand what you want more clearly, or what you need to improve on. I hope you sleep well tonight, and try and enjoy the rest of your trip. And when you get back home, play us some of your songs. Emma will be back for the spring break soon, and I'm sure that she'd love to hear you guys play too. I put my phone back on my lap and rest my cheek against the top of Baxter's head. Things usually don't work out the way that I planned them. I think that I should just get used to it by now. The warmth of Baxter's body next to mine and the voices of my best friends at the front of the car slowly lull me to sleep again. And I smile at the ironic thought of how happy I am to be heading home. And that's actually where I'm going to leave it for today. So, it did not end well for Mylo, at least with the recording thing, as far as that's concerned. But I mean, considering that recording something nowadays is very easy, you know, speaking from one amateur, I guess you could call me a voiceover person, even though I don't like to refer to it as that, to somebody that wants to do music or something on their own. It's not that hard. I mean, you do need to invest some money. Like, obviously, I have a Shure microphone, the SM7B now. I have a Focusrite audio interface. I have a better computer. I have 3 screens. I have a lot of extra stuff that I did not start with. But, like, I mean, I got some of it thanks to you guys. So, like, thank you. Anyways, but it's doable. You know, if they end up doing that, then, you know, they could do it. They could, like, start out small and then eventually branch out. Ah, I do not know where the story is heading. I do not know if Mylo and Baxter will become a thing because, I mean, Mylo and Jacob don't feel like they should be a thing. But then again, Mylo Baxter, you could already feel the sparks flying between them. And they just literally need to say, the L word. You know the word. But yeah. I guess it's safe to say that Baxter is good for Mylo, even if the end game is not them together. But yeah. I mean, there is one thing to be said though. If you ever are looking for a partner, and consider this more advice, not a rule, but it is good advice. When you look for a partner, don't look for somebody that is going to complete you, that is going to fix you or whatever. No, that's not what you want, because you don't want to just have somebody to take care of you, even though a lot of you are going like, but that's what I want, that's what I need. No, you need to work on yourself first. You need to be able to love yourself first before you are able to love someone else, because I mean, you don't want the relationship to be one-sided, right? And that's kind of what happens with Mylo and Jacob. Their relationship, even though it looks like maybe Jacob wants to put in like just a little grain of work in there, that's not a healthy relationship. That's not something that you should strive for. You shouldn't have to chase after someone. You shouldn't have to put so much work into it when the other person does nothing. Does nothing but give you like empty promises. Even if those promises just have like a little bit of work behind them, like no. If he's not putting in the work, then you're like, why? Just move on. And I know, again, a lot of you are going like, but that's so very hard. What if I don't find someone? Like, well, have you been following along with the story? I'm not saying that you're going to find your own Baxter. I'm just saying that there is the possibility that there is somebody else out there that will actually appreciate you and that won't be a jerk like, Jacob. Again, I don't know if Jacob is the end game, but I would be pretty miffed if it was, because like, my God, this guy is a tool. He's just a horrible, like, it's not that he's a horrible person, it's just like, come on, dude. Anyways, thankfully Mylo made up with Wyatt also, because that would have been very awkward and very bad. But it does show that while Wyatt is like the quiet stoic type, the one that like just looks to be the supportive guy despite what's going on, that he was also harboring some stuff too. Because even though he said that he doesn't really mean it, what he said, with regards to Lizzie and Mylo, he was feeling it. So like, yeah. And even though it was coming out from the whole thing of like Mylo just suddenly wanting to up and quit and then upending Wyatt's possible path to like a music career, still those feelings were there. So they came from somewhere. But thankfully they managed to at least patch up whatever's going on. Also, in case you haven't noticed, I'm trying to not exactly censor myself, but like to just pick the least offensive words and then just, blur out the word that's right there, and that way I don't have to like leave the gap there, because maybe that's what's triggering YouTube or whatever, I don't know. It sucks. Then I also have to record Devil's Gambit soon. That's gonna be fun. It's actually as fun as just having to censor that too. Anyways, so tell me what you think so far of what it feels like, and write it down in the comments. Obviously, I mean, where else would you write it? And thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play What It Feels Like, I mean, there's only like one more chapter left from what's currently available at the time of recording, which is September the 15th. You can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it. Or, play any of their other visual novels. And if you'd like to support them, then, there is a link for their Patreon down in the description. along with my links in case you want to, join and be a channel member. Like, you would have already seen this by September 16, 17, depends, when this goes out for channel members. I'm dealing with the whole YouTube right now. But yeah, I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!